This is Berschback. Jay is a graduate of that school up north. I'm not going to name that. Sorry, Jay. With a degree in atmospheric science, he's been working in broadcasting for 24 years now, and he's worked at 13 ABC for the last 20. So let's please give a warm welcome to my childhood icon and good friend, Jay Berschback.
Wow, it's quite an introduction. Thank you very much. All right, so if we could get the my little laptop up on the screen, and we can start the presentation. My talk today is titled, as you can see, Broadcast Meteorology, Past, Present, and Future. Derek mentioned I've been in the business for nearly 24 years, and things have changed quickly over that time. So I'm currently the chief meteorologist up in Toledo at Channel 13, WTBG. Thanks to Derek especially. He was our intern, was it last summer? Great worker, great future for him. He graduates in 2 months. All right, so he'll have a bright future ahead of him, but thank you so much for getting me down here today. Funny that my brother, my younger brother by about 10 years, works for the National Weather Service in Green Bay. So for all you Weather Service people that were just up here, he's one of you. Let's just put it that way. And, he hopes to get back to Detroit someday. I grew up in Detroit, so I know you guys kind of had, just like TV people, geography, it's tough to find a spot. There has to be an opening to get into a certain office, and he's hoping to get back someday to Detroit. Fourth grade, lightning story. What is that? That's how I got involved in weather. When I was in fourth grade, before cable TV, before satellite TV, before the internet, lightning, I was at home for lunch one day, lightning zapped our antenna, the electricity went down the wires, and the TV blew up right in front of me. I used to be deathly afraid of thunderstorms. I'd hide under the beds. At school, I'd get away from the windows. And on that day, my mom took me to the library. Again, no internet, can't Google it. And we got to books on lightning and thunder and tornadoes and hurricanes and clouds and the water cycle, and it kind of started back on that day. Something that scared me so much when I was eating a Klondike bar, watching TV. That was fourth grade for me. 24 years of changes. I love the weather. If I was not on TV, I'd be doing something else. I've talked to a few of you about other careers in this business, whether it's government, aviation, private industry. It is my passion. So the TV part just happened with an internship up in Lansing, Michigan, which just so happened to be where my future wife went to school, Michigan State. And I went to Michigan, hour away, and it worked out. So that's great. 2 boys, 16 and 14 years old. So if you're ever up through the Toledo area, be careful, because one of them is driving. 16. Look out for an old, I think it's a 1996 Buick Century. It's great. If you see one, keep your distance for sure. All right, into the presentation here, the past, when it comes to meteorology. When TV meteorology was in its infancy, it was very, for a lack of a better term, nerdy. You know, you had the news people all fancy in their suits, and then they went to the weather guy with his pocket protector, and well, we got this front coming through, and they used the magnets. Does anyone here remember the magnets they used to stick on the boards? There were no high-tech graphics back then? Okay. That was it. It was science. Is it going to snow or rain? How much? Show me a sunshine here, a cloud here, and temperatures here. Weather presenters. They came along, what, in the 80s, maybe into the early 90s, and here's one of the famous weather presenters. Who knows who this gentleman is? All right, that is Willard Scott. Famous weatherman who was a great presenter and learned knowledge over time, but he was also Ronald McDonald. So that shows how good of a presenter he was, but did a great job. But there was a phase where we had non-scientists. Next phase, which I think has started, and we're still within this phase, are scientists and engineers. This is my team at 13 ABC. There's me, Michigan. Ben Cathy went to Miami University. Ross Ellett went to Purdue. And then Dan Zabosian went to Central Michigan. So you don't see any clowns, no offense. But definitely, as you look at most of the stations and most of the venues for TV and broadcasting meteorology, the majority now are scientists of some kind. So, Anchorman. You've all seen the movie Anchorman, at least most of you. It's a funny movie about TV news back in its heyday. It's not like that anymore. It used to be you were the king of the city, and the anchor team would go around and rumble with the other stations. No. But TV now is becoming a little bit less and less of a concrete thing in most markets. Back in the day, limited graphics and technology, and that too is changing quickly. If you've watched a TV newscast or weathercast lately, think of the Weather Channel, it's getting pretty impressive with what is real, what is not, just like movies, much the same technology. So, in the present, that's the past. We've come a long way from basically cavemen, right? What's the weather like today so I can go hunt, get food, and survive the night? Do I need to make a fire tonight based on clouds, wind directions, or the animals acting funny? To Willard Scott, to now scientists and engineers smiling and pointing on TV. That's where we are now. And the meteorologist at the station is usually the station's scientist. We do have reporters that have some knowledge on science, but for us, anything that happens science-wise, they ask us to do a story on it. Earthquakes. Think of Lake Erie Health. Do a story on the algae, please. There was a big, I was talking with Derek on the way back from lunch, there was a bolide, or a meteor that happened up in Michigan about a month ago, just north of Detroit, and reported by thousands, if not millions of people. They found chunks of it on a lake bed or a lake north of Detroit. So what did I do that night during most of my weathercast? It wasn't a weathercast, it was a meteor/bolide cast to explain to people what's a bolide. Who in this room has heard the word bolide before and knows what it means? Yeah. So if you were watching that night, you would have learned what bolide means, which is a meteor that explodes and it creates a sonic boom, and this is what this thing did. It was coming in so fast and so that steep of an angle that the meteor exploded and some of those little chunks made it down to the earth. So, science stories. Next time you watch the news, see who's doing the science story. Is it the reporter that does politics every day? Probably not. It's the meteorologist or scientist at the station. So, we do have before I get on with that, the Met is the station scientist, but we also have perks. And science for me, one of my jobs that I want to do someday, or would have done if I wasn't a meteorologist, was to become a pilot. So I had one of the most awesome days of my life last July. It was 2016. That's me. I got to fly with the Thunderbirds, the Air Force Thunderbirds, in an F-16. I got to fly the plane. He gave me the joystick. Went around clouds, we did spins, we did flips. Yeah, I threw up. They make it very, very clear, there's bag number 1, they strap it to your leg, there's bag number 2, and take that mask off if you have to throw up. They don't want that in the cockpit. They have to clean it, he said. So if I had an accident in the cockpit, he's in there with a toothbrush for hours and hours. Think of how many buttons and knobs and crevices are in an F-16. Yeah. So I made the bag, so that's good. There's another picture of me taking off. Afterburners on. That's me in the back seat. That's me. Pilot's in front. I've got the thumbs up signal. So it's from Toledo Express Airport. Had to wait for a flight coming in, which was, I think we have 2 flights a day. But of all times, we're there at the end of the runway taxiing, we wait, and there's a flight coming in 5 minutes out. He can't take off yet, so watch them land. It was really cool. But a once-in-a-lifetime event to fly an F-16 upside down. Flew over the stadium. There was a baseball game going on at the Mud Hens game. We popped smoke over the stadium. Got so many people on Twitter saying, "Hey, was that you flying over?" So again, it is science, but I love science, and I love airplanes, so that was one of my highlights the past couple of years. But that's only 50% of my job, to present science and mathematics on TV. As I've told the students, we had lunch together, the industry is changing more quickly than ever within my 24 years of broadcasting. And the key word, platforms. So, one platform is television. This was me a few nights ago. That's our 7-day forecast, a basic look. The graphics are good. There's your time change. Don't forget about your time change. Okay, daylight saving time begins. On the radio down today, I heard a radio guy say, daylight savings time begins. I don't know, it's one of my pet peeves. Anyway, so TV. So other platforms. We've got something called Weather Nation. That is the alternative to the Weather Channel. And we get 2-minute segments every 10 minutes to insert a local forecast, to look at our local radar, any local ditties we want to do. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc. You've got Snapchat, you've got all those other social media platforms that are becoming, with this new generation, more and more and more and more important. And it's happening so quickly that the companies that measure these things are having a tough time measuring. Nielsen used to be the gold standard for TV ratings. The Grammys, what was the rating? The Super Bowl, how many people watch the Super Bowl? It's the Nielsen company. Well, now we have Facebook providing numbers. We have people DVRing shows. We have people watching shows live on Twitter or Facebook. So the game has changed. It's no longer just a television set. There's a whole bunch of platforms. We do websites. We do push alerts. Your phone will just beep at you. You look down. Oh, well, okay, it's going to snow tonight. We do radio still. Yeah, we do. Emails, phone calls, newspaper, weather talks, school visits, MC events, charity events. If you've ever been to one where it's for some kind of great organization, somebody has to introduce all the people and give the awards out and do the auction and do all that stuff. We have a charity basketball team at the station. Yeah, a bunch of old guys and gals against the staff or the people that work at the school, maybe some alumni as well. That's fun. It's good stuff. And the bottom one there, of course, the grocery store and restaurants. I'm always at work. Not saying that I don't like it, but if I go shopping, I've got to think in the back of my head, okay, if I put this Miller Lite in my cart, I walk around a bit, and someone looks over and says, that's the weatherman, right? Okay. He's got Miller Lite. Okay. He actually drinks beer. He's human. Yes. But it's great. And if I go this happened a couple weeks ago. I went and just got my normal groceries, and on top is a loaf of bread. Well, the cliche is, if there's a big storm coming, get milk and bread. I had milk in there too. So the cashier, hey, you got milk and bread. Is there something I should know about? No, I need milk and bread. So it's great. You don't know who's a customer, whatever business you're in. Think of everybody you drive by, walk by, talk to on the phone. You don't know if they're your customer. They might watch you every day. They might watch the other station. They might not watch TV. You just don't know. So you have to assume, not always good to assume things, but assume that every person is your viewer, is your customer. So I can't cut people off when driving. I can't go to the store and let's say I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I've got to put that happy face on because you don't know. It's that one person you go, and the weatherman was really mean to me at the store today. They tell their family, they tell their teachers and classmates, they tell their aunts and uncles, they tell their grandma and grandpa, and it spreads. On the other side, if you're always polite and in a pretty good mood, that can spread as well. So for you students, even now with the social media, you don't know who's watching. All right, so assume that your future employer, your future professor, your future wife or husband, it's all out there to see. All right, so just be careful there. All right, television, with all that said, and platforms, and we're all over the place, television still is relevant to the world. People still turn on the TV for big, severe weather events. For us, we have a special coming up here called Ahead of the Storm. It's a half-hour special on severe weather safety, and we talk with survivors of an outbreak about 5 years ago. Think of the big nor'easter, the last 2 nor'easters, right, in 2 weeks. That I'm sure has boosted ratings for the Weather Channel and the networks like crazy. People love to watch the weather, still. People over 45 still watch the news daily. People under 45 sometimes watch the news. And even younger people, well, they're busy, but they watch the news even less. And yes, they still read newspapers. There are still some people out there that actually get a piece of paper open the paper up and it crinkles, and they have that with the morning coffee. Yeah. I mean, it's rare to find someone that sits there and you have a cup of coffee, you have a piece of paper, and you got to go through it page by page. But even papers now are going websites and apps to progress. So we're going to have to watch things as the generations change. Younger people find new ways to get their weather information. All right, so a question for you. No offense here, so be honest. How many of you watch television news or weather on a regular basis? Okay. All right, thank you. How many of you don't watch television? I'm going to come out there. Okay. That's completely fine, and that's understandable. If I didn't work for a TV station, I've got baseball games to go to and soccer games to go to and work. If I didn't work at a TV station, you're busy, right? You can't sit around and wait for 6 o'clock to come around and say, okay, I've got a half hour to just sit here and watch the news. So things are changing. That's my theme. So here's a challenge for you. We're going to do some audience participation. I see some of you participating already. Can everyone please pull out your cell phone or get your laptop out? I know some have laptops. Okay. As quickly as possible, find the weather forecast for Columbus, Ohio. Okay, and raise your phone when you're done, or just raise your hand if you have a laptop. The clock is ticking. I'm not going to sing the Jeopardy theme.
All right. Pull up the Weather Service app.
Cool. Cool. Pretty quick, right? Okay. Yeah, if you have a signal. If you don't have a signal, then hey, you got to watch TV tonight. I'm kidding. Can you tell I'm a little sarcastic sometimes? And that's also why I think people still watch TV. You can get your weather from an app, but to watch a weather person that you enjoy their personality, maybe you feel like you know them and they come across as someone that just you enjoy watching. That's one reason too people still watch TV, is that we're humans. Think of ATMs. Why are there still bank tellers? You can get your money from an ATM. So, things like that. Okay, everyone play along. Thank you very much. So, more questions for you. Who used a television station platform to get that forecast? Did you go to a website, an app that was provided by a television station? Okay, hold your hands up high. Let's see, okay. Okay. Who did not use a television station platform to get your forecast? Okay, look around the room. It's probably about 80% versus 20%. 80% did not use a television platform. And that's our big challenge in TV right now. One, fewer people are watching TV because you're busier and busier. And two, even though we have platforms out there, we have apps and we have websites, people find something more convenient for them. Or they've always used weather.com, which I guess is a TV platform, like WeatherBug or Weather Service, for instance, things like that. So the future of broadcast meteorology is literally in your hand. What you're holding now is a TV studio, it's a cell phone, it's a communicator. Soon, think about this, soon this will be like a teleporter. Wouldn't that be cool? Like in Star Trek? I'm just going to pull my phone out myself to see what time it is, make sure I don't go too far. Okay, we're good on time, I think. If not, Derek, just get the gong out. Who knows the Gong Show? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so the future of broadcast meteorology is still bright. It's just not going to look like it does right now. We want people to get one of our platforms. I want you to go to Facebook to look at my forecast. I want you to get our app. I want you to use our website. Even if you don't watch me on TV, that will count more and more and more to keep us in the job. Facebook Live, that's a real hot topic right now, real big thing that we're trying to do. Facebook Live is just streaming video and audio of us on Facebook. So if you've got your browser open, or your app, we can give you like just right now, like I'm on Facebook Live right now, let's say I was, but I can answer questions. How cool is that? It's a video conference where if we're talking snow totals, you can say, I live in a Bowling Green. How much snow are we expecting? A ½ inch. I live in Findlay. How much are we expecting? I live in Port Clinton or Sandusky. When's it going to start? It's a two-way street. Email's a two-way street, but it can take hours to reply. Texting, faster. But to actually see my face respond to your question on Facebook, between newscasts. That's a big future for us. VOD, video on demand. D is the important part. It's when you want it. Not at 5, 5:30, 6, and 11. It's at 7:15. It's at 6:47 when you're at the baseball field and you hear thunder in the distance, right? What's coming my way? Don't go to that other app. You check our radar. That's what we want. Or maybe I'm on video on demand right there, or Facebook Live, detailing that severe storm moving your way. Streaming, we do that now too. If you're using your laptop as a television, maybe you're watching Netflix or something, that's a big threat too. You can just hit our website, streaming, and there's our newscast for you. Don't even need a cable service, you need internet service, but just use your computer. Live shots with a cell phone. This thing is so powerful. There will not be video cameras, television cameras. Used to be in the day, the camera crew would come, right, 3, 4 guys, lugging them, tripod and everything else. We can do live shots now with cell phones. We can do whole stories, we can edit. We can use a program to send it back to the station, it goes right into our servers, and gets on the air. This, $1,000, whatever, with your plan for 2 years, it's only like what, like 200, 300 bucks? Very important, cell phones can do almost everything a TV station used to do 10 years ago in the palm of your hand. And some people say, well, I look at your website, it says today's high is 50. I watch you on TV, you said today's high is 45, and I go to your app and it says today's high is 42. Which one's right? It's not different stations saying different numbers, it's all from 13, it's these platforms. So how do we fix that? Well, we somehow get our providers, because a lot of that's automated, to use ensemble forecasts to reduce the ping pong effect. And by that I mean, let's take snow totals for instance. If you go to our app at 8 in the morning, it says 6 inches of snow. Then you go there at noon, it says 3 inches of snow. Then you go there at 2 o'clock and it says 4 inches of snow. Then you go at 6 p.m. and it says 1 inch of snow. Every time a new computer model run comes in, it just grabs the number and puts it down. If we can smooth that, or have it match our on-air product, that would also make people trust our apps and websites a lot more than they do now. I think that's one of the issues why people don't use them. Well, I watched you, and then I went here, and I'm seeing 2 things, so which one do I trust? So that's a problem. Wrong button. The future, hyper-local forecasting. This is how local TV stayed in business when the Weather Channel came out. There was a big scare when the Weather Channel hit, and it had your local on the 8s, right? You knew exactly when it's going to be on, every 8 minutes or on the 8s, every 10 minutes. Yeah. Sorry, it's a long drive down here. We kept everything hyper-local. Weather Channel has gone now to more feature stories, half-hour shows. Why do planes crash? That was on a couple days ago. Where our focus is, hey, if you live by the Dwight Perry Stadium in Bowling Green, or hey, by Fifth Third Field downtown, or hey, over by the Meijer on Central Avenue. The Weather Channel can't say that. They'll say by Interstate 475 and I-75. They don't know the local area. They don't know the local people. And that's how we can stay in business. We go out to the public. We hear people's comments. We know when there's a sporting event going on. Weather Channel, again, this is how we stayed where we are. They give you the forecast, but not give you any specifics, when, where, and make it hyper-local. Present facts, trivia, and extras that cannot be found on any app. Things like the meteor, the bolide. You can go to your app and say, oh, it's going to rain at 2 o'clock today. Great. But when word gets around, hey, did you hear about the bolide last night? And then like, what's a bolide? And they go to our app and say, oh, there's a story about it. That's a way to get them to watch. Even during an average newscast, throw in some extra facts about the time change, an eclipse coming up, the moon phases, meteor showers. Things like that they can get, but they'd have to look for on their phones. We can give it to them and make them come back if they're interested, and make it more interesting. with the current political situation, National Weather Service, private sector partnerships, or merging, or who knows what, right? For the National Weather Service people. I don't have any information on this, but it seems like our president is trying to save some money, and we'll see what happens there. So, again, my brother works for National Weather Service in Green Bay, so he's affected as much as TV stations would be as well. Augmented reality, that of course is big with cell phones nowadays, and that's just part of our graphics package. I think we'll actually put you out in the snow where you can almost think of like a hologram in your living room or something. I mean, I see us down the road as not just on a screen, but in your living room, and it's virtually snowing. Or, like, you know, like, have you ever been to a 4D movie where they have the wind machines and cold air and hot air? Or like at Disney, they I think it's the Bug's Life. They kind of poke you in the back. Sorry if I ruined it for you. It's all of your senses. It's not just sight and sound, but it's visual. It's your sense of cold and warm. But to somehow make it more realistic, virtual reality weather forecasts, to make it more like movies and TV, the way they're going. Not just me on the screen talking, but more interactive. And weather modification. This is my last thing here. At some point, not in our lifetimes, but way down the turnpike, if and when weather modification becomes a reality, you won't have to predict the weather, right? You can make the weather. So, think of that. Probably not meatballs and pancakes and hamburgers, but rainmakers have been around for a long time, desert Southwest. We've used it in, I believe, Vietnam. Sent rainmakers over to make it rain more. So, kind of an iffy thing there with weather modification, but the point is that there would be no more forecasts. You'd have almost orders coming in, and again, this is thousands, if not millions of years, if not never, but kind of a funny finish there with the no forecast needed. He just plugs in what he wants falling from the sky that day. And great book and great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. If you have kids, it's really cool. All right, so that's my spiel. There is still a future for the students in TV, but you'll be on all these platforms. You'll be on answering viewer questions on the weekends, and you'll be on midnight. I get home from work and a flood of Facebook posts come in. I've got to answer them, which is great. I love interacting with people. But it used to be you go to work, 9 to 5 job for me. It's about 2:30 to midnight. But now I wake up, check emails, check Facebook, check Twitter, check social media, reply to some people. They call back, they get back with me. So it's really a 24-hour job now more than ever. And that will be the future of broadcast meteorology, is you're broadcasting in so many different ways. All right, thank you. Good time for questions. One issue with my drive down here, I get to almost stop for gas, and guess who forgot his wallet? Thankfully, I drove a news vehicle, and they had a gas card in there I didn't know about. So I almost ended up in Upper Sandusky at a gas station, stranded. So.
We got a question over here.
Okay, go for it.
So I grew up in the Astoria area, and I can specifically remember several instances where we had some severe weather, but they didn't quite want to break into broadcasting. Do you think that the mobile, especially Facebook Live, would help with that as far as getting the news out there so that more rural areas can get a report on what's happening?
Yeah, the question is, do you break into programming or not? And with the new technologies and platforms, yeah, we're doing that right now. We'll go on to Facebook Live. What we haven't done a great job with is to run a crawl or something on our main channel. Let's say you're watching ABC, and to say, if you're looking for information on the severe weather in Astoria, please log on to Facebook Live. Or we have a separate digital channel. We have actually 3 different channels, and that Weather Nation channel, we could say hop over to channel 13-3. If you're over antenna or if your cable supplier does that. So yes, that is also a great way not to make people mad. If people live somewhere else, they're like, it's not even raining here, you're interrupting The Bachelor. Oh! You wouldn't believe the phone calls. And they have a point. Like, it's sunny in Hillsdale. I don't care what's. Where that way we can give you the information and let them watch their show at the same time.
I'm kind of curious if, I can hear you.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys deal with this, but you guys have problems with people not knowing where they live on a map.
Yes. The question was, do we have a problem with people not knowing where they live on a map? We discussed this at lunch. People don't know. You might tell them, hey, big storm approaching Defiance County. Thankfully, with that developing technology and platforms, a lot of this stuff is geocached now, so it tells you where you are. Only warns you if you're within that warned area. Now polygons, of course, but polygons are what, 10 years old now? National Weather Service people? When did polygons come out for warnings? Long time ago, right? Okay, let's just say 10 years ago. But yes, people don't know where they live, and that is an issue, but hopefully, if we merge cell phones and on TV, you will know where you live with that virtual environment to see if it affects you. But yeah, big problem. Up front.
Yeah, how do you guys work with your local weather service office during severe weather? Reports, trading information back and forth?
We are right between 3.5 offices. We are in Toledo. We have Detroit to the north, we have North Webster to the west, we have Cleveland to the east, and one of our counties is Wilmington. That's Allen County, where Lima is. We extensively, NWS Chat is great. Tell your bosses that thing is a lifesaver with snow reports, funnel cloud reports, creepy cloud reports. When you're thinking about an advisory upgrade or issuing a warning or might expire this soon, we're seeing less rotation, that really helps broadcasters out. We will make the occasional phone call. Hey, we're getting a couple reports, the old-fashioned way. So with chat and with having that many offices, we do utilize each one very often. And again, chat is the biggest thing we use. Chat is always up, and you can always just send the Weather Service a message, and they usually write you right back.
Just kind of a follow-up. What does your budget look like over the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, it seems like when we went to visit other TV stations, they said their budgets were decreased. I know Weather Service budgets kind of...
Sure. Question, what are your budgets looking like the next 5, 10 years? Lower and lower. A city like Toledo, it's not growing as rapidly as Columbus or some of the West Coast cities or southern cities. So we have a limited amount coming in, and we have a limited amount we can pay people. For instance, right now we had a live Doppler, which went down about 3-4 months ago, and it's still down due to budget issues, trying to figure out how to pay, and if it breaks again, can we pay for it again? I think it's a 15-year-old radar, so a lot of old parts that can't be replaced, or we either have to upgrade, I think, or so that's an example that budgets are getting very tight. We got one up.
So I'm wondering what your biggest unique challenge, maybe your favorite challenge is with trying to adapt to all the latest changes in technology and how to communicate.
Time. Think of a severe weather event and it's only me at the station. Sometimes we'll bring in the other meteorologists, team coverage. But if it's only me, how do I go on television and broadcast to you, respond to Facebook Live people, respond to Twitter people, respond to emails, respond to texts, all at the same time? I only have 2 hands and 1 brain and 10 toes. But it's tough. It's a matter of what's the priority. Right now our priority is still on air. So if I have a choice, if there's a twister coming down the street toward downtown Toledo, my first thing is to get on the air instantly. We can supplement. We'll call in the other meteorologists. They'll hop onto social. They'll hop onto Facebook Live. But it's time. You only have a certain amount of time. But there are new programs that are trying to link the platforms. We have one now that does Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at once. Sounds small, but that's 3 steps, now 1. So as more and more of those ideas come out to merge, if I just do it once, we can deliver that to every platform equally. That would help me with my day-to-day workflow, and especially during severe weather events. We good on time?
Got one quick question.
Okay, one quick question.
Do you see any trust issues as people, because so everyone has access to Facebook, Twitter, and those things. Anyone can get on there and they may or may not know what they're doing, so suddenly you're putting your 2 cents in there. Do you see any trust issues?
Trust issues with social media and amateur meteorologists posting maps, forecasts, rumors. That is another one of our issues right now it's damage control. With snow events especially, somebody will post a 12Z run of 36 inches for Northwest Ohio. You're like, oh. And then 12 hours later, that model has come to a reality and it's 5 or 4. But everyone remembers that 36. I saw a map at 36 inches for Toledo. Yes. And as far as trust, we have to be the calm during the storm and say, we don't often say, you may have heard rumors of a lot of snow coming. But in so many words, we'll say, we've told you all week 2 to 4 inches. We've told you all week 2 to 4 inches, and we're going to get 2 to 4 inches of snow. So it's a matter of the public has to experience that for themselves and say, well, this guy posted that map and he was way off. The TV guys seem to be more level-headed and go from there. But it's a free world right now. You can post anything you want within reason as far as a weather forecast on social media. And if somebody sees it, it sometimes becomes viral. Where my posts, my boring map saying, 1 to 3 inches, 2 to 4, gets so many hits. And that map that said 2 feet or 3 feet gets 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 shares because it's exciting. But it's a brave new world. That's part of those platforms and how we go forward. All right, all done? All right, thank you so much, everybody.